When we think of flow, we think of our pumps. But what's the best thing I did for the growth in my tank wasn't adding pumps. It was adding a WXM module from Apex. Why the WXM module, you ask? Because the WXM module gives me absolute control over the MP10s. It was relatively expensive, but definitely worth the money. Just pop it in and the module appears in my Apex, ready to be programmed. It took a couple of minutes to get the pumps synced up just right, but once I did, I was able to control them much better than with the Ecotech software on its own. You see, the Ecotech software, while it works great, it's a little clumsy on the long pulse mode. It's supposed to be between 2 seconds and 2 hours or something like that. But it really pretty much winds up being 2 seconds or 2 hours. There really doesn't seem to be anything in between. I've tried a bunch of times to program it, couldn't manage to do it. But with the WXM, I'm getting a nice long 6-second pulse merely by punching in the 6 seconds and hit update, and it's done. Now I get 6 seconds on one pump, followed by 6 seconds on the other pump. Since introducing the 6-second pulse mode to my tank, my alkalinity consumption has absolutely doubled in 3 days. It's getting to the point now where I need to trim on a weekly basis just to keep up with it. Changing to the 6-second pulse was the best thing I did, and that WXM made it a piece of cake. Nothing else has changed really in 2 years, with the exception of the introduction of that made the biggest difference in growth in my tank. A nice long 6 seconds in one direction, followed by an anti-sync 6 seconds in the other direction. Not this random splashing 1 second back and forth wave making junk that does nothing but make a whole lot of salt creep on the tank, but something that is very reef-like, where the current flows in and then flows out, and about a 6-second pulse made the biggest difference to my tank. I don't think that's what Apex had in mind when it was made, but let me tell you, it made a big difference and it was worth every penny. So I'm definitely recommending the WXM for people who want absolute control over their vortex. Just one more toy to get for the absolute control freak. I'm definitely a control freak, and I'm going to get more and more bells and whistles for this Apex. WXM was the best product I bought for it yet, hands down.